Okay, started recording. So I guess it's starting. Hello and welcome to whatever this is going to be. It's a working title. It's just going to be, I guess, wrestling discussions. Did we have any? I mean, we can't use certain names. Corey made some bad suggestions. But I don't know. Any ideas, guys, what you want to call this other than Corey?
No.
No. Okay.
Just roll with it.
Let's roll with it. All right. So,
Hard to be determined.
There you go. It's hard to be.
Card subject to change.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Marked off, subject to change.
Marked off, sure. Yeah, I think that's what Daniel was suggesting was marked off. But anyways, so my name's Jeremy. I am the probably the NXT guy of the group. We've got Corey, who is probably the NJPW guy. Right, Corey?
Don't shorten it. Call it by its real name.
New Japan Pro Wrestling, good sir.
Put some respect on it.
And then we got David, who is the AEW guy, or All Elite Wrestling. And then I've got the...
there you go.
And then I got an angry redhead in here named Kyle.
I also like AEW a lot more than any other promotion going right now.
Right. And you dislike other things a lot more than anybody else in the world.
Yeah. His name is Roman Reigns, and he's garbage.
That's the angry
redhead. That's one. Don't plan on there being a lot more.
Yeah. Kyle's our angry redhead. But
hater.
So anyways, we're not gonna keep this thing too long, but I wanted to go over the 2020 Wrestling Observer Awards. We kind of started talking about this in the group chat, and we had a pretty lengthy discussion about all of it, I would say. So I was just trying to get everything that's kind of sparked the whole idea of doing this. So I just wanted to go around to everybody and go name the award and gonna give you like a minute or two to kind of explain why he did or she did or he didn't or did not deserve the award and who you thought should have won it. So we'll start with David. With Wrestler of the Year, Jon Moxley. How do you feel about it?
I think it fits perfect. I'm probably going to say like a million times and mention that I was at Revolution in 2020 whenever he won the title. I don't know. I just feel like every one of his matches were really good. They all ended different. Like it didn't feel like any of them were exactly the same. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He defended against a bunch of different people, and I just don't know a lot of people, especially with New Japan not doing as many shows as they normally do, and with WWE just being kind of a dumpster fire. I think if Roman hadn't had to go for COVID, I think there's a chance he could have won that for sure.
All right. Okay. Kyle, Wrestler of the Year, Jon Moxley. How do you feel about it?
It's perfect.
Okay.
I mean, there's no argument. Dude had a fantastic year. Busted out from underneath the glass ceiling that he was in with WWE and showed Vince that he could be something way more than what anybody in the Shield could be. So, which we already knew. We already knew that Jon Moxley's / Dean Ambrose was going to be way bigger than either of the other two out of the three. He can talk. He's a great wrestler. He likes violence. It's great.
That's a debate for a different day.
He can get by fine on talking. He's not going to be the best, but he doesn't have to be.
So, Corey, what do you think? Is that your wrestler of the year, or who would you have voted for?
Honestly, I don't have anyone that I could say differently. I don't think it's undeserved at all. But let me put this out there to you, just because I was kind of trying to think, is there anybody else? And I don't think there's anybody else, but I think you could have made a discussion for someone else looking at the rest of their year if one match changed. If Lance Archer would have won that title, would we be talking about him as Wrestler of the Year?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Possibly.
I mean, just he's constant feature. All his star has done is just continue to rise, and all I could think is, that one match, you take that and give him that win. Would we be talking about John Moxley as the rest of the year, or?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Wasn't that match kind of late in the year?
I think it was still 2020 nonetheless. But look at his whole build up the entire way, though, and then just knowing where he came from, like going TNA, his Whisper in WWE, all his time in New Japan with Suzuki-gun. He's just one of those people that I've been watching for a long time and just seeing him just get better and better and better. He had an amazing run going for the IWGP US title against Moxley also. One of the better matches that he had in New Japan as a single star. He just had a stellar time, in 2019, and he rode that rocket all the way to AEW.
I love Archer. I think he's great. And dude's funny. Like, I don't know if anybody's listened to the Tony Schiavone and Aubrey's podcast. They have him on there. He's great. Like, dude can talk. He's just down to earth, Bill.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I can't argue with this either. I mean, John Moxley is like, we were kind of talking about this a little bit, and I was thinking about it. You know how we kind of had a discussion about people going from one promotion to another and then becoming a bigger star there, and it really depends on the person. John Moxley fits that. I think he's more himself. I think he's just better as John Moxley, and I think with his stuff in New Japan and with his stuff in AEW, I can kind of see him making the argument, being one of those guys. He was already a pretty solid star over in WWE. I mean, he won a world title. And he had a pretty good following there already, but I think he took it a step. I think the John Moxley character and the persona is what is Dean Ambrose light, or not Dean Ambrose, but Dean Ambrose is John Moxley light. And now that he's kind of doing his own thing and then back to enjoying wrestling, I think it's well deserved. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, I agree. You could kind of see the potential there, but you could kind of also see like Kyle was talking about the glass ceiling. You could see like there was more there, but it couldn't be let out. You know what I mean?
Right. So
he had a potted plant he was walking around with, guys. Come on.
Hey, seriously? That potted plant was over. Rip Mitch.
Do they talk about the runner-ups for the category? Because it is a fan vote thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fan vote for observer fan vote, but I've got to find where that's at. They did talk about the runners up here.
Well, I mean, I was making a case the other day that you could have made Kenny Omega Wrestler of the Year.
I don't think you could, honestly.
Well, I mean, so you got to look at they won the tag titles. All right, but I think that was late 19 on the Jericho cruise, right? So he was tag team champ. He had that freaking awesome freaking match with Pac, that Iron Man match before Revolution last year. They had the Revolution, which some people think is the greatest tag match ever. They had that match with FTR, which was really good. He won that Eliminator tournament. He beat Hangman, and then he ended up beating Moxley for the title. all in the same year. That's a pretty damn good year for anybody.
It is,
Yeah.
but I think his 2021 run is going to be the best thing that we've seen. He's a shoo-in for Wrestler of the Year, in my opinion, for next year's vote.
Oh, there's too much time to go to say shoe in at this point.
I was about to say this. Nobody's expecting a global pandemic at this level. You know what I mean?
I don't know. What he's doing with the invasion storyline and all that stuff, and being a big player in the midst of all of those different promotions, it's great. I mean,
we got to see what they're going to do with it, because
it's even better. Like
everything's going to start opening up soon, though. So we don't know if these guys are going to open up. Well, yeah, they're trying to open up things. So if everything opens up, we don't know if something like NWA is going to start shows. Are they going to keep having some of their talent go over there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna have to run their own shows and use their own guys. Impact's going to be running more of their own shows without COVID restrictions potentially. Are they going to keep having their guys go over there, or are they going to have time to do that? You know what I mean?
I think if they continue this invasion storyline, and it's selling.
Well, I wouldn't really call it an invasion. It's more like a talent share.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they kind of posed it as an invasion because Kenta just came out of nowhere and attacked Moxley, even though we knew it was coming because of what happened.
That was the hype their match.
Right. Yeah. I think the thing with that is like both. I think both, and Corey, you can correct me on this if I'm wrong. New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW were both promoting the match and having them. Was that correct?
Yeah, they had a whole series of interviews with Moxley over like a Zoom Skype call thing, basically where he was kind of talking about that kind of stuff. And I feel like there is just more out there because you take this AEW out of the equation. There's wrestlers that are on all of these shows all over the place. I mean, there's one example that comes to mind. TJP, he's over on New Japan with New Japan Strong. He's in Major League Wrestling. He's in Impact. Actually, he's one of the Impact title holders, I think, at the moment, or he was recently at least one of the title holders. Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things. I mean, if they're already kind of intermingling here, like how far does this go? Like, I still feel like, there's a possibility that if they're going to start filtering more stuff in here, you're going to see New Japan guys showing up at different places. You're going to start, actually, we're already seeing the MLW guys show up in other places. I think this week or it's next week, Filthy Tom Lawler, MLW, he's going to be in New Japan, Strong for their LA show. But, the Thin Juice, they are supposed to have had a match again, but I think it's like on March 13th or something like that. But I mean, they're also, both of those two guys are going to be in the New Japan Cup. So, I mean, kind of showing their hand that, if it's not known, Impact's taped, it's not live. But
Oilers,
I don't know. But it's just one of those things. I feel like there's more we haven't seen yet, and we're going to see some really cool stuff through the year if they continue this stuff. Like, it's kind of, I felt, and I called this with you guys a long time ago. I saw these breadcrumbs, and I kept following them, and I kept saying, I'm thinking there's something here, and I feel like it still could get bigger.
Yeah. So here's just a quick question before we go on to the next subject. Is Kenny Omega going to win world titles in multiple places this year?
Isn't he already AAA world champion?
Is AAA?
Yeah, he already was. Yeah, I was gonna say he actually already did. I'm pretty sure.
Let's keep it in a bubble. Like Impact world champion, NWA world champion.
There's got to be a
Japan world title.
Right?
I don't know about a New Japan. I think they're kind of sour on him because of the way things ended up, because they put the title on him and he still left, which, nothing against him for doing it. I mean, he had to do what was right for him, but I think they might still be a little sour on him. So I don't see them putting a title on him anytime soon, at least through New Japan.
There's got to be a trade-off for Impact. I mean, otherwise, you got a dude coming in from another wrestling company and taking your top title. So there's got to be some kind of trade-off for them. or else they're just going to look like schmucks. You know what I mean? Or at least that's how. I don't know anything about it. I'm not in the business. I'm just saying, common sense wise, tells me if I'm trading you something, if I'm going to make you look great, you need to make me look great too.
Right. All right. So, female wrestler of the year is Bayley. David, do you agree with that?
I gotta be honest, I didn't watch a lot of WWE, so I can't tell if she was really fantastic or not. I will agree with it because I don't have anybody else to throw in there. I really like Thunder Rosa, but I don't think she had a female wrestler of the year caliber year. But she might this year coming up. Who knows?
Okay, Kyle. Female wrestler of the year, Bayley.
I mean, honestly, I didn't watch enough of WWE either to say one way or another either. I know that since she cut her hair and became a heel, she's been, I guess she's over it a little bit. So, I mean, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Corey?
Yeah, I think looking at just like everybody across the board who was around and actually able to produce a majority of a full year of wrestling content, I think it's earned. She did a great job with her heel run and continues to do so. I think if you were going to make a case for anyone else, at least WWE wise, I think Bianca Belair, if things, spiraled a little bit faster for her the way it did at tail into 2020, we could have been talking about her possibly because she had a stellar year also.
And she did. Yeah, Bayley, they're not going to get me any argument on me on Bayley either. She, longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion during all this. Did a heel turn that a lot of people didn't think she could do, because of her personality, because everyone loved.
Yeah, she was like the female Ricky Steamboat, right?
Right. So
lifetime babyface.
Yeah, everyone thought so. Her, it just showed her range of, the character that she can be, and of course, she ended up having an excellent feud with Sasha through the year, or towards the end of the year, anyways. So, no arguments for me on that one.
How many NXT women were in the top 5? Because normally NXT has an awesome women's division.
They do, but I'm not. The only thing I'm finding so far. I'm not finding a list. Maybe I need to find. Maybe if I can find it this way.
I mean, you may not be able to get it if you're not subscribed to
that. Right. Maybe not.
We can just move on. It's not that big a deal.
Right. Well, but you do make a good point. I mean, the NXT women's division is really stacked. It's super stacked right now. Now, if you want to make a case for anybody in NXT, you can make a case for Io Shirai. I mean, she's been excellent through all this as well. So, just her in-ring ability is head and shoulders above a lot of people. So, you could probably make an argument for her. But as far as, the character development and the story with Sasha, I have to give it to Bayley.
I honestly could make a case against that, actually.
Against Bayley?
No, against Io Shirai. I honestly find her boring. I mean, her matches don't excite me. Her promos are adequate. I wouldn't say they're great. They're adequate. And granted, I understand there's a language barrier issue there that she's got to work with. But sorry, you're going to have to deal with it. You're on the U.S. You're working with the U.S. audience. You got to develop it a little bit better.
Well, she over the years that she's been there, it's gotten a lot better. I know she was really choppy there at first, but she's gotten better. But I understand. I mean, because her in-ring work is really, really excellent. It just seems like it's just head and shoulders above a lot of women right now. But I still cannot give it to Bayley because she's still a really, really good wrestler on top of the character work. So we go to tag team of the year is the Young Bucks. David?
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, they weren't bad, man. the second mention that I was at Revolution last year. That was probably the greatest match I've ever seen like live in person. Well, actually, it's hands down the best match I've ever seen live. It was just bonkers. I really enjoyed their match with FTR. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the stipulation was stupid, but I mean, God, I don't know who I could pick to really even say that they had. Because WWE's tag division is terrible. Maybe Corey's got some people from like New Japan or TNA, but like I can't think of anybody.
The only one that I would say is FTR.
Well, yeah, I mean that's true.
That's it.
Yeah, but my only thing with FTR is how much did they actually get out content-wise wrestling in 2020? Because weren't they kind of tied down with not being seen for a while still under WWE? Or unfortunately, 2020 is kind of a blur just because of everything going on. Like it's all run together a little bit.
Well, they got the titles from Hangman and Kenny in. Let's see. The Bucks beat them in November. They got the pay-per-view before that, which would be August or July. So, I mean, they came in probably a couple months before that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So they at least got a half of a year under them
got about half
at
a year.
AEW. But I mean,
that makes why they lose it, because the Bucks got a full year worth.
If I was looking at New Japan, the two that stick out to me, and I feel like this is kind of a little bit slanted because it feels like it really should kind of a little bit fall into 2021, is obviously the Guerrillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and kind of they should co-have this is because they had just such great chemistry and storytelling going on with Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr. when they were guys who were going back and forth with the title situation, the Iron Fingers from Iska being stolen. It was a fun little series that they had going on during that whole time. But again, that's kind of, talk about towards the end of 2020, kind of going into 2021 a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. They had good matches otherwise throughout the year. It's just like you've already said, New Japan, obviously was only able to start putting content out until, a little less than halfway through the year. But I mean, when they did, they hit the ground running. They put out a ton of stuff consistently. But I there's a lot of great like tag teams that get kind of put together in New Japan, but they're not like tag teams per se. So it's kind of hard to say, I mean, the junior division, you could possibly make a case for Desperado and Kanemaru. They were decent a good amount of the year, but again, outside of them, the only other like real junior tag group is Roppongi 3K's Yo and Sho got hurt, or not Sho, but Yo got hurt like right out the get-go when they first started getting shows going back, or wrestling matches going. He messed up his knee, I believe, like right at the beginning. So I mean, he's been out this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like a lot of these AEW wins by default. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, like I can't argue with the Young Bucks. I'm not a Young Bucks fan. I mean, I know they're good. I can't deny that. But I mean, let's look at the rest of the landscape outside of AEW. WWE's tag team division is non-existent. NXT barely has one. So, I mean, yeah, AEW, and like Corey said about New Japan, the lot are just thrown together outside of maybe a couple. AEW is the hub of tag team wrestling, and I can't argue about Young Bucks on that.
Oh yeah,
I guess that's kind of what happens when two of your EVPs are a tag team.
They easily have the best tag team division on the planet.
Yeah, can't deny that. But so here's one that we might have some discussion on. His most outstanding wrestler of the year was named Kenny Omega. 2020 Kenny Omega. Just keep that in mind. David.
I mean, I made the case earlier about all the great matches he had. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't got to watch like any New Japan this year, but I know I really love the ring style there a whole lot. I can't make a case for anybody other than as far as like I don't know, just matches that were good, matches that I was excited for. I mean, I guess I could make cases for other people, but they just wouldn't be as strong. Like I don't know. I think it fits.
I can.
Go for it.
Hiromu, even with what they were able to do with 2020, he just had a fantastic 2020. He had just so many memorable matches, so many great moments. He's just a great character. It sucks that he's out right now with injury, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than they were already talking, possibly, which just is absolutely terrible. But it is kind of is what it is. But yeah, he just had a fantastic year. He went up against a bunch of the heavyweights and got all the way up against Okada, where he finally got stopped when they had to do a modified New Japan Cup because of the pandemic and travel restrictions. They could only have so many people, so they had to enlist the help of the juniors to help out. And he was taking it to the people. It was so fun to see him just like he was already a breakout star anyways, 2 years ago, but like he just kept coming up and he just kept becoming more and more the face of the junior division, and he just is just so fun to watch.
But Kyle, what about you? Most outstanding wrestler of the year, Kenny Omega, 2020.
I kind of agree with David. I really can't think of anybody else because I don't watch New Japan and I refuse to watch WWE's stuff right now. I just can't. But, you can't. While Kenny is the most outstanding wrestler of the year, half of his stuff was with Hangman. And I still think Hangman has a lot of potential to take that, potentially in the future from Kenny. That kid is going places. I'm going to say it now. I know David agrees with me on that. That kid's got, he's going places. He really is.
Right. We kind of talked about that in the group chat too a little bit, to where once we get fans back, like right now, it seems like they're just keeping Hangman busy, with the Dark Order stuff, and they just keeping him there, kind of building on his character a little bit.
Dude, him with John Silver is hilarious.
Yeah, which yeah, he's and that's just the range of Hangman, right? Like he can be that serious ass kicker, and then he can be just funny. And it just comes natural for him. But I think, once we get, a full capacity crowd back and everything, they start working towards the story of, Hangman going back for the title. Like I said, Kenny needs to have a really, really long run with that title. And at the end of that run, needs to be a full capacity crowd and one pissed off cowboy waiting for him down there. So I think, and then that buckshot lariat needs to be full of piss and vinegar when he comes across Omega. So I think they have a potential of putting a good story there together, and then from there they can build on the whole, Hangman MJF, and that's going to be something in the future too, I think. But as far as most outstanding wrestler of the year, I'm not going to argue with it too much, because I didn't watch all of Kenny's stuff. What I did watch of it was good, but I'm not a person that kept consistently having good matches that I watched and elevated the people around him when I watched them. And maybe this is a little bit more recency bias, because he had two great back-to-back matches with Kyle O'Reilly and elevated him to being a main event player in NXT, and that's Finn Balor. I mean, just his ability, all his matches were always really good, regardless if they were like Johnny or even Cameron Grimes and Kyle O'Reilly. He just elevated them and made them look even better, So that's how I view the word. But I'm not going to argue with Kenny being it, because, again, I didn't watch all that stuff either. So, Most improved wrestler of the year is Britt Baker. David, you want to start with that one?
Man, I just watched her match with Nyla last week, and man, it was really good. Like, I didn't know who was going to come out on top right there. It was just like they went for like 20 minutes, man, and it was just good the whole freaking time. Her character work is really good. I love how AEW kept her on there even whenever she was hurt. They made sure that she had something to do, which shows you that they're really investing in her.
Right.
Improved. I'm trying to think of somebody who, like, you know what I mean? They had to start kind of low to really like improve like before your eyes. And man, you know, as much thinking as I've done on it, I just can't really think of anybody who's like, I'm sure
About Lana.
that Corey.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Corey. Well, no,
I
Corey.
mean, whenever
she got
you
better
go
this
from
year.
a dumpster fire to a slightly smaller dumpster fire,
I mean, she got better. She did. She's getting
she
better.
did, but she still sucks. But hey, man, you gotta admit it. You gotta admire that she's still trying.
Yeah.
But no, I think Britt's good. I think, honestly, man, I was looking for her to win this Eliminator tournament that they're having. It didn't happen, but you know what I mean? I think a year from now or so, she's probably going to be the top female in AEW, provided there's no kind of crazy signings.
Right. Kyle? Most improved.
I'm trying to think of somebody that didn't really, you know, like had something similar happen to her. You know, because Britt got hurt.
I'm sure Corey's going to have a lot of people watching them young lions grow up.
Well, there's only one I can kind of say, but I'll let Kyle go first.
No, you go ahead, Corey. I really don't. I don't have anything.
Yeah. 2020, not so much. Obviously, was only so much that could be done. A lot of people didn't really get a chance to like really show themselves as much. I think some people that this is kind of a weird way to say it, but like, well, let me start with the New Japan guy first. Okay, so looking where Great O'Khan started off as a young lion and seeing him, I never was interested in him. And then he got ready to go on excursion and he revealed his character. And I just thought to myself, what the is this? I was just like, well, goodbye. We'll never see you again. He went off on his excursion and he did crazy stuff. He went completely undefeated in whichever English promotion he was in. And he came back and he just felt and looked different. And he still had the stupid outfit, but it just felt different. He came in and I was just stunned. He was so good. Just ring work was better. His delivery was better. His just presence. He felt like an intimidating force that you had to deal with. Whereas before he was just this goofy looking young lion to me. And I didn't get him. I didn't get his character he came up with before he left out on his excursion. But man, I totally was turned on him. And he's continued to just do great stuff with it, with Will Ospreay and Jeff Cobb, with the Empire or United Empire. I don't think they've even really determined what they're really calling themselves at this point. But that's mostly gone into 2021 for the most part. But where he kind of came in, at least, that's where I can at least say I've seen an improvement.
Mm-hmm. Kyle, did you have anything else?
No, I mean, I really don't have anybody because I don't watch enough of it to kind of get that feel for everything. I just know, and like Corey said, 2020 is kind of a blur for most of it. So,
I will say that throughout but by the time I was introduced to Britt Baker through 2020. With her, I forget what the segments are called, but she had those segments in the in her dentist's office, and she had she had that match with Big Swole. I think what was this year? I think.
Yeah, that's before she was officially off injury, so they had to do
Right.
like the tooth and nail match.
Yeah, the tooth and nail match. So, which it was a lot more of her character work that's really kind of like drawing me into her. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not much as her wrestling ability, although she's a good wrestler. But her character work has kind of drawn me in a little bit. I think she's got some Jericho vibes in a way. I'm not going to put her on that high of a pedestal just yet, but just the ability to just take what's given to her, like with the whole injury angle, and able to work with that, and coming out in her vehicle and all that. I think she did really.
Pokemobile.
Yeah, so I think she did really well with that, and I think that's where the improvement was, at least from what I saw more of. So I can't argue with that. Most underrated wrestler of the year, Ricochet. Now, David.
I don't, dude. Half the freaking WWE roster could win that award.
Well, it's underrated, not underused.
Right, I was about to say.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. Ricochet is an amazing talent, but they don't do anything with him. Yeah, he deserves it.
Kyle?
I want to echo Corey and David's entire segment there. I mean, WWE doesn't use half their talent, so I mean that award could pretty much go to anybody because they really get any ring work. So
I think it's like who's better than what they get credit for being.
I at least got something for that, at least from what I've seen so far.
I've got some for that too.
I would say Ricky Starks from what I've seen so far. I feel like he's the most underrated / not maybe used to the best of his ability so far.
My vote on that. Yeah, my vote on this one. And Corey, you already know this guy's got star written all over him.
Oh my God! Yes,
I see a lot of hate on him, but this dude, as a wrestler, is excellent. He's really good, and a lot of people just hate on him. It's Cameron Grimes.
To the moon.
That guy is very underrated. And I don't know if it's because I don't know, because maybe it's because of the character he's working with. I don't know, but a lot of people that I talk to, like, I don't like him, but the guy's really good in the ring. And the guy really has, I mean, he's got these characters that are working because he's hilarious. So
I love him. I think his matches are always fun to watch, and yeah, they're goofy, but like, I think that's part of the reason why I like him. He's one of those ones that, like, yeah, he could win any match, if he just, you could see him winning any match, but like, you have fun watching them. Like they're just goofball. It's like, this is wrestling. It basically, it reminds me that, hey, this is the entertaining part of wrestling, where it's wrestling being wrestling like it used to be, where it's just off the wall, like wackadoo characters, like, no, people are this person couldn't have possibly exist, but you go with it because it is what it is.
Yeah, because it's wrestling.
Exactly.
So, but I just think, and then he's had great matches. I mean, he's a good wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my underrated.
Thinking back on it, not necessarily that he's underappreciated or anything, but there's a couple of guys that I think are top talent that have the potential to be really big stars one day. I just think with COVID, I think that they're holding so much back and playing their cards, too close to the chest right now, because what they want to do is they want that full capacity crowd to where these guys come out and they get the ovation that they deserve. One being Jungle Boy.
Okay.
I don't know. But I do get that you're saying like they want to make him a star, but they're kind of keeping him busy.
Yeah. Like, I think Jungle Boy has way more potential than what used in the capacity that he is right now. But I think that's a lot of what they're kind of looking for. Like, I don't know.
Well, so we got most overrated wrestler of the year was Bray Wyatt. David?
I mean, let's see. The undefeatable monster lost to how many people in 2020? I just mean, like, if his thing is supposed to be that he's like this undefeatable, awesome beast, and then he just like gets whooped all the time. Did he lose to Goldberg in 2020, or was that late 2019?
I think it was 2019. I think
It might have been. All right, so you walk in. He has a non-match with John Cena, which is understandable because Cena's under the same thing The Rock is under, where the studios have insurance policies out on them, and they don't want them to get hurt. So then you have the non-match, which I found entertaining, but it wasn't a wrestling match. He got beat by a returning Roman. His feud with Braun was weird and confusing. He got lit on fire by Randy Orton, and now we're just getting the same. Probably going to go to WrestleMania with Randy Orton, the same crap that we had 3 years ago.
Kyle?
Are you freaking stupid? Everybody voted for that. Are you blind? Do you see what WWE is working with? Come on, guys. Bray Wyatt is probably the best thing, if ever, that WWE has had in the last, 5 years at least. He's great. I mean, he's great on the mic. He's got an interesting character. And WWE is crapping all over because of booking.
He's kind of a lame wrestler, though. Like, I've never been like, ooh, a Bray Wyatt match.
I always look
I like his characters, but I don't give a crap about his match.
Well,
I agree with that 110%. So, that's it.
Corey, what about you?
Well, I don't know exactly what all they're getting at when they say overrated. Are they talking about that are hyped as like this big thing that has not really been that great? Or I don't know. It's kind of a subjective thing depending on how you're looking at that. So I don't know who I could say exactly is overrated. The only thing that kind of comes to mind, I don't think it's even his fault, was Keith Lee, kind of. And it's not that he's bad. It's just the way that they have worked him, like going from where he was just doing so excellent with what he was doing in NXT to then they brought him up to the main event roster, and it's just been a dumpster fire of all over the place nonsense.
Right.
But again, does that make him overrated because they built him up and he's kind of was a fizzle? Or I don't know. It just really kind of depends on what you mean by overrated.
Right. Well, like if you're just looking at it from a in-ring ability standpoint, okay, I see the argument with Bray Wyatt because although I personally enjoy Bray in the ring, I very much more enjoy his character work a whole lot better than his in-ring ability. But I don't know. I can't think of anybody else that would be just that screams overrated.
I got one.
Roman Reigns.
He's not overrated. He's rated for
It's the worst piece of garbage I've ever seen, and they still ram him down our throats.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
It's true. It's your opinion.
Hey, I got one we could all agree on.
Okay.
Nia Jax.
I don't know. Was she actually rated anything?
She's got women's tag titles.
I
over here
guess it's
crushing
okay.
other smaller
Talk
women and
about
killing them.
whole it's over, man.
What?
I'm surprised Vince hasn't already slapped that on a T-shirt.
I'm
What?
sure it's coming.
My
Well,
whole-
will it though?
Oh my whole. That's 2021, man.
See, I don't know that you can call her overrated because I don't know that a lot of people think of her in that light to begin with. That like,
Right.
I don't think anyone really is like, oh man, she's so good. But then everyone
Are
else
we
is like,
talking overrated by like fans or overrated by their own promotion? Because if we're talking about the promotion, I think that Nia Jax is overrated by WWE.
yeah, you could
Right.
make a case
Fans
for that.
don't
I could
shake
agree with
it.
that. I guess that's the problem. Is like, what do they mean by overrated? I think
Very
that
fake,
that's
yeah.
one of those ones that they need a little bit more of a like criteria as like how they
And
are
again,
asking that.
there might be a criteria list for people who vote on it. They might have it lined out. We don't. This is just what we've been given to us. They might have it listed like who gets all the hype for being a great wrestler but actually sucks, or who gets all this. You know, it does. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm sure there are people who think Kenny Omega is like the most overrated wrestler. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which, whenever you're that highly rated, it's pretty easy to be overrated, I guess.
Right. So we go to Rookie of the Year as Pat McAfee. David?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Kyle?
I mean, Pat got called a wrestler by Miro. I don't argue with him.
No. Yeah. All right. Corey?
I'm not gonna. I have to say, I think he did a fantastic job for his like initial outings. I guess the best way to put it. Yeah, I have no issue with it. Like in a bubble, like when you look at like all the promotions, I think that's like the most memorable of them too. So I mean, yeah, there's other rookies that kind of came in or people that don't have a lot of legs under them with companies, but I don't know how many years you go while you're still considered a rookie, or if you come into a new promotion, are you a rookie also? Like,
right, or like if you've only done indies for 15 years and then you're finally on TV, are you considered a rookie? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's another vague definition.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're talking about people who just are pretty fresh into it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he gets it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, had a surprisingly great match with Adam Cole. Of course, Adam Cole's an excellent wrestler as it is, but he held his own. When CM Punk says everyone else should be embarrassed that he came in and is just automatically a better talker right from the get-go, I mean, that's something you got to pay attention to. So I can't
just have that, dude. Pat McAfee. I'm a Colts fan, right? So like,
right.
I've been exposed to Pat McAfee for longer than the majority of people who aren't from around this area. They're like from near Indiana and stuff, and freaking like he has charisma to spare. You know what I mean? Like he's a funny, thoughtful, like really charismatic person, and like he's one of those people who's going to succeed at whatever he does. He's just that personality, and not everybody has that.
I was hoping to last.
Yeah, and he's just fun to watch. I loved it a couple years ago when he was doing commentary on like Raw before Survivor Series. I'm like, why the hell is he not commentating full time? He makes the show entertaining.
Right. Well, they kind of built that up. You know, every time Adam and Pat were in the same room, Adam would be like, "Shut up, Pat!" Like, constantly. So they built it up pretty good. So, but yeah, I can't argue. I totally agree with Pat McAfee being the Rookie of the Year.
I wish we had that list of who the runner-ups were, because I'm kind of curious who else was like scratching the surface there.
Right.
And what
now I do have a list of runner-ups for the most overrated. If you want to see that, like the list behind them. Nia Jax was number 4.
Hey, there you go.
Let's see. Number 2 was Evil.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Number 3 is King Corbin. Number 5 is Braun Strowman. Number 6 is Bill Goldberg.
Did he even wrestle in 2020?
Bill Goldberg? Yeah, I think so.
Are we sure?
Yeah, he was at WrestleMania, Drew beating.
Yeah.
That was Russ. Oh, okay.
Number 7 is Cody Rhodes.
I don't think Cody's overrated.
No, not
I
by
think he's
far.
rated right where he needs to be.
8 was a tie between Seth Rollins and The Miz, which The
I
Miz
agree with Seth
probably
Rollins.
needs that list a little bit.
I think Seth Rollins is overrated.
I don't think for what he did in 2020 he was. I think he was right where he should have been based on what he was doing.
What, Sheldon Becky?
Well,
Unforgivable.
yeah. Number 10 is Charlotte Flair. So
I agree with that too.
I don't think so.
Like,
The Corbin one
you
kind of throws me a little bit too. I don't feel like he's overrated either. I feel like he's another one that like he's right in where he's supposed to be, like based on what they do with him and what he can do. Like I'm not really seeing that as an overrated situation. I don't think they play him up as better than what he is.
Like as much as I do not like Charlotte Flair, and I don't like how she just gets shoehorned into title opportunity after title opportunity without like doing anything to get it other than being herself. I still don't think that she's overrated.
right.
Now,
Now,
there's one player who will pick up the network just to see what Ric Flair's daughter.
I do have to just say though that I got to go back to this. How the heck? You said Evil was second on the list?
Evil was second.
What? Why? That is ridiculous.
Bray Wyatt
Probably
win.
because he went from like regular dude to double champ in a heartbeat. But that still was the cool story.
No, but that was a whole build-up though. There was a great story behind it. He betrayed Los Ingobernables de Japón. He turned on his brothers. He went basically. Okay, so I mean, they were kind of a heel faction, but they kind of became like a face faction along the way, and they kind of maintained that for a while. And then he's using Dick Togo to cheat his way to everything. Like, what is overrated? Like, he's doing exactly what he's meant to do. He was always decent. He was always good. A lot of his matches were always fun. Him and Sonata were a great tag team when they always did stuff. I don't know. I think that one's a ridiculous thing to put him at number 2.
So, best non-wrestler of the year was Taz. David?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Hell.
So if they're just are they just when they're saying non-wrestler, they just mean basically people that are the talkers, interviewers, commentators? Like what are they?
That's what I would guess. Yeah, there's actually a list for best commentators on here, so I'm guessing they're looking more like managerial stuff.
So, I guess it'd be like a manager.
I mean, then how is it Paul Heyman didn't get it?
Right?
I mean, honestly.
Somebody else win this year. Yeah, Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
But, if we're going that way, at the end of 2020, something big happened in AEW where,
somebody... Don Callis. I think he went for 2021. But you got to think, he got that... Shit, when was Winter is Coming? It was like December 7th or something?
Yeah, and Sting was there too.
Yeah. I don't know. Don Callis has got his foot in the door for 2021. That's for certain. But not 2020.
Yeah, 2020. I'd have to give it to Paul Heyman.
December 2nd was Winter is Coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you guys with Paul Heyman. I mean, if we're Taz gets on my nerves.
Well,
really nobody said Jake the Snake, huh?
I was gonna say, I was getting ready to say Jake the Snake could be up there too with what he was doing, but that's what I was getting ready to ask Jeremy if he had the list of the runner-up on this one.
I have the list of runner-ups for that one. No,
I don't think that
Tully Blanchard helped NPR win some stuff.
Like he did more in 2019 when they were bringing Archer over. In my opinion, like his promos for Archer there were fire. They showed he hasn't missed a step at all.
I'd say Archer, I think, came over at 20, didn't he?
20. Yeah.
Did he?
Because for the third time I'm saying tonight, I was at Revolution last year, and Archer wasn't a thing yet.
Okay. Well, let's keep going here. High flyer of the year was Ray Phoenix. David?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Kyle?
I think that dude gets busted up way too much. Maybe it's why he's high flyer of the year, because he gets busted up too much doing high flying crap.
Right.
I feel like every time we turn around, that dude's on the injury list. So I would argue.
Well, I don't know how much of it was injury and how much of it was COVID.
Well, wasn't he injured like 2 or 3 times last year?
I don't know. He's wrestled 3 or 4 weeks in a row now. I've never seen him get hurt. I just think that you're confused by his absences for a while.
He got pulled
I
from
mean,
the
he
tournament.
didn't get hurt in the tournament. You're right. But that was one time.
I thought he had another ankle injury that put him out. That's when Pac was gone, and they didn't have anything to do with Pentagon Jr., so they stuck him with Mad King and the other people. And the Butcher and the Blade.
Well, Pac was stuck because of COVID in England or wherever.
Yeah. But if I was going to say anything, I'd say Pac rivals Phoenix.
Maybe off the top rope, but
Corey, you got anybody for high fly of the year other than Ray Phoenix?
No. Honestly, it's one of those ones that like no one really pops to mind who even really does most of their offense like that. Off the top of my head, the only one that kind of comes to mind is Will Ospreay, but with the way he kind of changed his game up, he still does a lot of the high flying stuff, but he's more ground based anymore with him switching up to heavyweight. So
yeah,
he's not flinging and flying around as much as he used to.
Yeah. Well, I would probably stick Ricochet here if he was actually on TV more, but
we haven't seen him do anything. So.
Right. So, but I can't argue with Ray Phoenix on this one. Now, technical wrestler of the year, and I know Corey's going to like this one, is Zack Sabre Jr. David?
I can't argue with that. I haven't even seen any of his matches. I just know. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You could make some arguments here. I think yes, he absolutely still deserves it, but I could have seen an argument for John Gresham, ROH guy. I could have seen an argument for Pete Dunne. As I say, that those are like the other ones that pop up off the top of my head that I could totally see, getting those nods as well.
I can tell you who pops in my head right off the top is Timothy Thatcher.
Yep.
Timothy Thatcher's really good technically. Kyle, anybody for you as far as like best technical wrestler of the year?
No. Honestly, I've heard enough about Zack Sabre from Corey to believe him, and that's where I'm gonna toss my hat in the ring.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is like a default win? Like, it's like, I didn't see a lot this year, so I'm going to vote Zack Sabre Jr. because he's always fucking amazing.
He is, man. Let's say, obviously 2020 was a different story, but I can't remember if it was 2018 or 2019 when he won New Japan Cup. Yeah, God, it was so fun to watch every single match of his.
But that's what I'm saying. It's so proficient technically and well known for it that he pretty much, unless somebody has a really awesome year, that he's pretty much going to be voted the winner. I mean, I don't know who won the 2019 and 18. I can look it up while y'all are talking. But
yeah,
it's like what you would call like just a lot of holds, ground based,
Yeah.
Chain wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The only two names that come to mind off the top of my head, other than Zack Sabre Jr., would be Timothy Thatcher and Kushida. Both of them were really good technical-based wrestlers this year, or 2020 anyways. So that's the only argument I can make on that, but I'm not going to argue against Zack Sabre Jr. at all. So now we're at the most charismatic wrestler of the year. Unless David has the last 2 years of technical wrestlers ready.
I'm looking it up, but I'll get back with you.
That's fine. We'll go on to most charismatic wrestler of the year was MJF. David?
You love to hate him.
Right.
I think, oh man, there's so many. I thought Eddie Kingston was really fantastic, man.
But is he
God, there's-
charismatic?
Eddie Kingston?
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee's charismatic. It was just somebody who just like they get that reaction out of you that they want.
Oh, dude, there's
I
no
think
one.
MJF's really good. I think.
Well, no idea what either one of them said, but okay.
Yeah. Why shut up?
I think they both pretty much agreed it was MJF. I think David was trying to make an argument for Eddie Kingston, but I think they ultimately both agreed for MJF.
I agree with MJF. I mean, that dude's just a master on the mic. He really is.
Corey?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with MJF getting it this year. You could make a charismatic argument for Kevin Owens also. I could see, I mean, this is obviously showing my bias, but Cameron Grimes.
I mean,
All right.
I think, you could also make a really strong argument. I was going to say, I think he maybe had the most charismatic presence throughout all of his matches in 2020, and that would be Dexter Lumis.
Yeah.
Obviously, that last one's a joke, but I do like
Right.
Dexter too. I don't think he's great, but I think he's
obviously
good
all over.
and he's doing well. But anyways,
For that character, it's
yeah,
good. I mean,
I like it.
Yeah.
could you go announcer being charismatic of the year? Because Paul Heyman could fit that bill too.
Yeah.
Well,
And if we're gonna go that route, then
if it's most charismatic wrestler, or is it just most charismatic?
Most charismatic wrestler of the year.
Okay, well
Okay.
there you go. That takes
that
that
changes
out the
it.
door.
Thank you.
So, David, you pull up that list of 19 and 18?
So far I'm to 17. Zack Sabre Jr.'s won all of them, and it's not even effing close, dude.
I
mean,
there's a reason
800
why.
something, and then the next people are in single digits.
Yeah.
I'm to 2016. It's Zack Sabre Jr. So I mean,
And it's one of those
Like I
things.
said,
Like there's some people that just don't care for his matches, but I love them. Yeah, I just find them so interesting and just fun to watch. Just
2015 Zack Sabre Jr.
That's really a lost art form with it. Like
It's
that
called
old.
the Bryan Danielson Award, but they should probably just rename it. 2014 Zack Sabre Jr.
I mean, he's just if that's such a lost art form anymore. It's all high flying and strikes.
No,
There's really not a lot of technical to it anymore.
not completely. I mean, like I said, over on NXT, Thatcher is an excellent ground-based technician.
See, I've
Right.
never
You know,
watched him
Yeah,
either.
Kushida is, I think, and Corey might be able to harp on that a little bit more with New Japan, but over in NXT, he's showing some really good ground stuff, And, those are the two that come to mind now. And then Pete Dunne, like Corey said, he's a good technical wrestler too. So
yeah, you mentioned Kushida, and I just didn't basically think of it. I really don't think of him as a technical wrestler, though. I think he just has that strong style feel about him that's just different. It's not like technical like Zack Sabre Jr. or John Gresham or Pete Dunne. It's got its elements to it, but I don't know. I just don't think of him as a technical wrestler personally.
okay, I just like I said, I mean, he doesn't do as much high flying. You can't put him as high flyer either. I don't think. So
Welcome to WWE.
right, yeah, you're not wrong.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
you got to go back to 2013 for Zack Sabre Jr. to not win that award, and then
Jeez.
dang.
Who won it?
Daniel Bryan won in 2013.
There you
Since
go.
then, it's been Zack Sabre Jr. every year by a landslide.
Well,
we just rename that award. It sounds like
right.
the Zack Sabre Jr. Technical Wrestler of the Year award.
Yeah, right now it's the Bryan Danielson award. So
yeah.
So we have move of the year. It's Kenny Omega's One Wing Angel. Now, David, I don't think I'm getting much argument on you.
Nobody kicked out of it. So how many other moves did that this year?
Oh, well. If that's going to be your criteria, then I can't say a single thing about any New Japan wrestler because everybody kicks out of everything 5 times.
Hey, looking at you, WWE. Oh, look, he's taken 5 spears. Still kicks out.
Well, hey, here's the main thing. The move of any year should just be the surprise roll-up.
Right.
It wins more matches than anything else.
Right.
I'm going to give anything move of the year. I'm going to give it Naito's Destino. That thing won him the double championships on 2 different times. He retained with that move, and that's just been his bread and butter. So if I'm going to give anyone the 2020 nod for move of the year, it's Naito's Destino.
Hey, and you know what? That move has beat Kenny Omega.
That's true. There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's really fun to hear Kevin Kelly just scream out Destino like a soccer goal.
Yeah, I'm finally getting some of that on the Roku channel. Like, someone will hit their finish and move, and it'll go all the way through the 3 count. I'm like, damn. But I can't argue Kenny Omega's One Wing Angel either. Really, I mean, if you were talking a couple of years ago, I could probably make a case for Black Mass, but that move hasn't seen the light of day for a year or so now. So
October.
So here's one that we might disagree on here. Feud of the year: Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. David?
That was a really good feud, but I'm gonna go Adam Cole, Pat McAfee.
I agree.
That bled over into the Pat McAfee show. I mean, that was just good stuff all around. Like it had people questioning: is this a work? Is this real? Is this actually happening? You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% on board with Dave there.
Kyle?
I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. Like the playing to nostalgia, like childhood, grew up together. Came up from the same promotion and whatnot. That's fine. All of them good. However, I'm gonna go tag on this. I really liked FTR versus Bucks and that build up.
Okay.
Yeah. So can I say one thing before Jeremy weighs in?
Yeah.
I think the main reason why I don't agree with the Moxley and Kingston, as good as it was, is I feel like AEW has like 3-week builds. Like they do fun stuff on the shows, and I love Dynamite, but I feel like right before the pay-per-view, it's like, oh shit, we got 3 weeks. Let's really throw some good shit in there. What if they did that for 5 weeks? You know what I mean? It would make it even better. But we had 3 weeks of Mox versus Kingston. Like I didn't even know who the hell the freaking I didn't know till 3 weeks ago that it was gonna be a Moxley versus freaking Kenny rematch at the pay-per-view. Like, and I remember talking to you guys going, who the hell's challenging for the title?
Right.
You know? I feel like if they gave it more than 3 weeks, I mean they gave MJF Mox a longer build.
Is there any? Do we have the runners up on that one by chance? I'm kind of curious what other feuds were out there.
Feuds of the year, I'm not having that one. The only list I have behind that is worst gimmick of the year.
Oh, I already know who won that one.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. As far as like feud of the year, I'm gonna have to give a nod to Sasha Banks and Bayley on that one. I'm gonna have to. That's who I feel like should have won it. It was a really, really long build-up, and it was one of very few times WWE actually told a long story. Where as far as like them being tag champions and going through all that and slowly planting seeds of like, you
And
know,
then finally Bailey actually turning on Sasha for once.
right. So and then they ended up having a great Hell in a Cell match, you know, with Sasha winning the title. So I think that was just a really good story, again, I can't argue with at all with the Adam Cole Pat McAfee one either. That's actually a really good point too, because you know when that news broke of him being on the Pat McAfee show and getting upset, it was like you know, like odd, but yeah, it's a good one. Let's see, worst feud of the year: Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman. David.
Yeah, that was pretty crap.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, God, there's a list of freaking crap feuds that you could do if you went to WWE. I mean, that one was pretty bad. I'm with Corey on this as far as like I wish I could see the runner-ups because there might be something crappier in there that I'm forgetting.
I mean, I don't know if it's in the runner-ups also. I'm not going to disagree with the worst, but honestly, I never cared for any of the feud thing that Seth Rollins / Dominic / Rey Mysterio /
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy were doing together. I never cared about it at any point. I thought it was just bad the entire time and just wasn't feeling it at any point.
I had no interest in that at all.
Yeah, and it would never end.
Right.
God,
It was just terrible.
it's
And then one of them got drafted to like Raw, and they're like, "Oh, thank God." Then the other one got drafted. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
it continues.
yeah, like really. But yeah, that one was really bad. I'd probably have to give the nod to that one. Kyle.
You know, the only good thing that came out of that entire thing was Alexa Bliss being possessed by the Fiend. So, but yeah, I mean, that was drawn out for way too long.
Okay. Match of the year: Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team titles at Revolution. David, do I even have to ask you? Is it just gonna be? Is this your obligatory? I was at Revolution.
Yeah, number 4. Well, dude, I feel like I should almost abstain because, like, so I missed that last episode where the Bucks were like, we promised not to use the golden trigger or whatever, you know? And so I didn't even see that. But I'm telling you, I was in that arena, and whenever the Bucks hit that golden trigger on Kenny and he kicked out at 1, I jumped up and was flipping my crap, and I didn't even know why. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, and I'm just like, you know, like everybody else is doing the same thing, and then like I find out later that everybody's flipping their crap because, you know, they were like, oh, we promised we won't use that move, and then freaking, you know, they did it. Everybody else had seen that, and they were reacting to that. I was just reacting to the moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'd be really biased. I thought the Dragon of Walter match was really good. That was one of those matches I feel like was enhanced by the fact that there was no crowd. You know, because you could just hear every slap and chop and strike and holy crap.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I gotta go with that tag match just because I was there.
so I actually have all the runner-ups now pulled up.
Oh, okay, cool. So let's start with match of the year here, Kyle. You've got it pulled up. What's the runners up to that one?
Match of the year.
Yeah.
Okada versus Ibushi.
Okay.
FTR versus Bucks.
Okay.
Okada versus Naito.
Okay.
Dragunov versus Walter.
Okay.
Which wasn't that one like that brutal slap one that you made that David had me watch?
NXT, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Ibushi versus Suzuki. Tanahashi versus Ospreay. Shiozaki versus Corey. Sugiura.
I can't spell in my head. I don't think that's New Japan either. I think you're looking at Noah.
Yeah, that's Noah Final Chronicle. Mm-hmm. And then there was Stadium Stampede.
Really?
Yeah, some like Stadium Stampede.
Really?
You know what? I think
Yeah.
that should have won Worst Gimmick of the Year.
I wouldn't call it the best match, but I did enjoy it.
It was fun.
I thought it was dumb. Anyways.
You didn't like Jericho freaking Judas affecting a mascot?
We can get into that later. Let's finish off with the current topic.
Yeah, so
round out list is Adam Page, Alex Reynolds, and John Silver versus MJF and Santana and Ortiz. So
do you think? I think you're really leaning towards Bucks and FTR, right? Is your match of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it was just great. I mean, they hit all those nostalgia moves too, which just made it even cooler. They put the colors of two of the most rival basketball teams, Lakers and the Celtics. It was cool storytelling, and there was just little nods here and there that just made it more enjoyable.
Corey, I think you and I are going to see eye to eye a little bit on this one, but you go ahead and say yours.
Naito going for the double championships at Wrestle Kingdom. It was a big thing to win them both. The Jay White match was great. The Okada match was great. And just the whole build-up, because aside from just the fact that he got his big Wrestle Kingdom wins that, everyone thought he might have, was going to get him, in previous years, he got not only did he get the big win, he got the biggest win by being the first double champ.
See, I'm going to go, and this might be because I recently watched it again, or watched it the first time, actually, was Okada and Bushi, night one at Wrestle Kingdom. I have to give it to that match. That was excellent. I watched, I really liked the Walter and Dragunov match. That's probably second, but that Okada and Bushi going into it, it was just really good. Like that's someone who doesn't watch, just recently started watching the New Japan stuff and watching it on Roku, and they kind of explained what's going on. And I already knew who Okada was. I already knew who Ibushi was. So, and I watched it. I was like, man, that's a really good match. And that was the match where Shalana said, well, this is good wrestling. Yeah.
It is, man.
And now you know why I pay 999 yen a month.
You don't pay 999 yen?
What's that?
I thought it's 999 yen. That's it.
Correct. Yep,
okay.
999 yen.
Okay. Which comes out to what in American dollars?
It's almost match dollar for dollar most of the time. I think
like
my last one was $9.83. There was I think there's only been one time that I paid more than $10 actually for it, and that was like I think it was November or December with the election stuff.
Yeah. Well, so the next themes on this list we're just gonna pass because most of them are just gimmies, like best show, worst show, all that. I mean, we kind of know what those are going to be.
Raw sucks.
Raw's terrible. AEW's probably the best show right now. I mean, let's just best promoter Tony Khan. I mean, best, yeah, sure. Oh, I can't argue with any of that. We're all just going to agree on that one. Now, gimmick of the year was Orange Cassidy. Now, David?
No. All right, so listen. At the beginning of the year, whenever he wrestled Pac at Revolution, it was fun. It was awesome. It was cool. For a little bit after that, it was okay. Like when he came out of that ladder match and laid the ladder down and then tried to reach for the freaking belt, that was funny. But now it's kind of dead to me, right? he started trying, and that wasn't funny anymore. Now he's just a normal guy, you know. Luckily, and I remember having this conversation last year with people, and they're like, they shouldn't make him wrestle too much because his gimmick has like a timer on it. You know what I mean? Like, there's only so many matches he can have before it's just kind of done. And I've been at that point. Like, now they haven't had him wrestle on TV in a while, so I'm good with that. And maybe, his next pay-per-view match will be interesting. But for me, like, the mystique is gone. Like, whenever he was just a funny dude who would, like, take naps and stuff on commentary, that's when I liked him. But, like, I think before even half of the year was over, I was just done with it. So I wouldn't say he is for me.
Kyle?
Well, I mean, I like Orange Cassidy. Like, I love him. I think he's great. He's entertaining. His gimmick isn't worn out on me yet. I don't know if that'll change. However, I'll give you your 4 below that. Number 2 was Brody Lee.
Okay.
Number 3, who shouldn't even be on this list, is Roman Reigns.
Hey, come on.
The Tribal Chief? That's good stuff right there.
The worst piece of garbage on the planet? Yeah, that guy. Adam Page is number 4.
Okay.
And then number 5 is Darby Allen.
All right.
I don't know what Darby Allen's gimmick is.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's broody. This feels like it's more of his character, not so much a gimmick.
His character.
His character, the story behind it.
I know about the car rank thing, but like he never brings that up.
No, and it was terrible when they premiered him at Fyter Fest versus Cody. I just was like, this is the worst written thing I've ever seen. But he's over, I guess, with the kiddos. And I mean,
face paint. Kids love him.
Yeah, I mean, he's entertaining to watch.
Oh yeah, he's not bad at all. I don't understand his character. It's like, I'm gonna skateboard off this thing and hurt myself. I'm gonna put me in a body bag and spank me.
I really, the best gimmick, in my opinion, is the one that got voted the worst, and that's. But
it's weird because I can see it being the case for the best and worst gimmick at the same time.
I agree. I'm the same way, because while I think it's still fantastic, I guess that there are other people out there that ever since they did stupid things with him, it's over. And I'm really hoping that when he comes back and he's transformed or whatever they're building up to, it's just phenomenal and reignites that, that flame that's kind of gone out.
All right, so best gimmick. I'm fine with what they did. I think Tribal Chief is a good one. I think Yano's run with the KOPW title and all the weird match things that they were doing, and just Yano's matches in general are a gimmick into themselves, but they're yet entertaining every time. I think those are possibilities. But I think one I cannot believe none of you guys are talking about, gimmick of the year, was absolutely Otis.
You know what? That's a good one.
Otis.
And then guess what? They took the Money in the Bank from him. And
I'm not saying that they finished it was a slam dunk the whole way through, but I'm not saying it was well booked, but he was so dang over. He was so fun to watch, and he was so great.
It was excellent.
But speaking of which, I don't know how we missed this on worst gimmick earlier. How did we not say Retribution?
Well, we're getting there. That's up next. That's up next. We'll cover that here in just a second. But Otis that's a really good point but he also suffered from not having a crowd. Can you imagine that at WrestleMania he plants a wet one on Mandy, that crowd reaction?
Oh, it would have been just erupted.
Oh
I always say I would have loved for him and her to dress to cosplay as Macho Man and Elizabeth.
Oh, that'd be great.
Otis coming out in that big hat with all the tassels. Oh.
Get a Macho Man shirt that doesn't fit.
Oh yeah, dude. Just a really tiny vest that he can barely fit into.
Right. He has like 2 tassels on his arm. They're like strings because he's huge.
Yeah, and then Mandy just gets her hair like permed. Like it's all curly and stuff. Oh, it would have been gold.
Yeah. But no, like Corey's saying, the worst gimmick of the year was the Fiend, and I think Kyle said that too. I have to agree with Corey. The worst gimmick is definitely Retribution. But what about you, David?
Tribal Chief.
Tribal Chief is gold, dude. You're crazy.
That's just Kyle's bias. We can just skip over that argument.
And they finally make him a bad guy, and he's cool as a bad guy, but he's also like somebody you want to punch in the face. He's great.
I'll never like him. I'm sorry. I've had enough of him.
Anyways, Dave, your worst gimmick?
Oh God, man. I'm gonna say Orange Cassidy for worst gimmick. Because Retribution is low hanging fruit at this point, man.
See, it's funny you say that. Worst gimmick, number 2 was Retribution.
Yeah, I have that list actually over here.
And Alexa Bliss was number 3.
Yep.
So 2 people that have something to do with the Fiend, that, in my opinion, is the best storytelling that WWE has going ever.
Well, seeing as how it's the only thing that they even do with the story, so
yeah, there you go.
Pretty sure ever.
And then the Monday Night Messiah Botchmaster 9000, Seth Rollins is number 4. And then
I never cared for that whole thing.
Corey, Master Watto.
Oh yeah, that's that totally deserves it too. Yeah, I think they're already done and burying him at this point too. I think they realized that they made a big mistake with that blue-haired bozo.
So wait, you're telling me Fiend is better than like the intro of Kane, freaking, just anything WWE's ever done?
Yeah.
All right. And better than the rise of Daniel Bryan?
Like, as far as gimmicks go, there's nothing within the last 5 years that even touches it, in my opinion. And the only one, honestly, that rivals it as far as like the character and in total everything is Undertaker.
I don't like some spooky boys.
I do like boys. Also, number 6 was Dexter Lumis.
Bullcrap.
Travesty.
Yeah. It's an excellent gimmick.
And, surprisingly, who made it on here? The used to be WWE couple of Lana. And number 10 was best man ever, Miro. So.
Yeah, I'm not really digging what they're doing with Miro and AEW from what I've seen so far.
I'm not either at all. And I don't know if they're holding him back so a live crowd gets in, or if he's just doing his gaming stuff more than anything. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
You guys didn't love the Bobby Lashley Lana cucking story?
Oh, God. It's awful.
Or was that 2019? God, 2020 was a weird year.
Yep. All right, let's see. Let's get back to the list here. Where was I? Okay. Best announcer of the year was Excalibur. Worst announcer was Michael Cole. Any argument from you, David?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Kyle?
That's 3 no's, sir.
No. Whoop. Corey, were you? I think Corey had an argument with somebody.
I would say Kevin Kelly is announcer of the year.
That's funny you say that. He was number 2.
Yeah, he's just fantastic. Excalibur is great too. I'm not taking anything away from him, and I think he definitely deserves it. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying if I was going to make a case for anyone else to get it, it'd be Kevin Kelly in my eyes. I wouldn't say Michael Cole's the worst. I would say Josh Matthews or Ian Riccaboni are the worst. I cannot stand listening to those two call matches. It just irks me every time.
Hey, Corey. Ian Riccaboni was number 9 on best.
Yeah,
and Matthews was number 5 on worst. So
yeah, I don't get it.
Where was JR on worst?
What's that?
Where was JR on worst?
Number 4.
All right, I figured he would be in there.
And you want to know
we're going.
Funny? He's number 4 on best too.
That's funny.
Well,
how mediocre of him.
Another one that I feel like I wish I don't know if he's on this list or all, but Wade Barrett, he was excellent as an announcer with NWA. Obviously, with the pandemic, they had a shutdown, so he didn't get a whole lot with them in 2020. And I'm honestly not sure where he fell in with when he got over with NXT, if that was even in 2020 at the tail end, or if it was just here in 2021. Again, it's all a blur, unfortunately. So I don't know if he would even qualify. I mean, just because of the time frame, but he's one of those ones, if he stays as an announcer with NXT, he's got a good chance of possibly being on this list next year.
He was number 7 already.
Okay.
You know who was number 8?
Jericho.
Number 8, which was what I was getting ready to say.
He did a lot of commentary on Dynamite, so
he did, and he was good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Him and
he did a lot of yelling, but I was okay with that.
Yeah.
What's that?
Chris Jericho did a lot of yelling while he was on commentary, but I'm okay with that.
I was too.
All right, so there's only like 3 more categories left. Do we want to cover most disgusting promotional tactic of the year, or best on interviews, or best documentary of the year? Is there anything you guys want to make mention to any of that?
No.
Nah.
Who won best interview?
Best on interviews, Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, I can work with that.
He's really good on it. Yeah, I can't argue a lot about that. So
I'd say Jay White, but that's just me.
Okay.
Let me see here real quick. I don't know if that's on my list.
What's the other stuff?
Well, the only other thing that we wanted to possibly cover, if you guys wanted to cover, was the AEW Revolution. I think Sunday. Is that right, David?
Yeah, it's Sunday. I can read it off if you want me to just, and then we can make predictions. I can make it quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Let's see. Paul White says he's going to announce a really super important legend person that's signed with AEW. Anybody got a prediction on who that might be?
Maybe Hulk Hogan? I don't know.
Man, I hope not.
Oh, I hope not.
I didn't say I hope it was. He's talking about big, huge legend. I mean,
well, he said Hall of Famer, really. So,
well,
Kevin Nash. Oh, does that be any better?
What?
I'm really, because I was thinking, I really hope that it's somebody that's going to actually be able to wrestle.
Hall of Famer that can wrestle. Christian?
No, he just came back with WWE.
Well, it's Christian. Yeah. I don't know.
Hopefully somebody that. The thing is, I'm not very good at guessing these things either.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and go. Tell me what's next on that list.
Okay. Where'd my list go? Freaking, there's a big tag team battle royale on the pre-show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who's on the dang thing or in it. There's just a bunch of dudes. There's like Silver and Reynolds.
There's
just a
my
bunch
pick.
of yeah, that's mine.
I'm just gonna say whatever iteration of a Dark Order team. That's probably who wins it.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's gonna be Silver and Reynolds. That just seems to make sense to me.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with it. Hey, I got a really whacked out, like freaking far extreme out there signing prediction.
Okay.
Big Sexy.
That'd be that too. Like any of those guys that were originally in WCW that brought its downfall goes to AEW is bad. That's
yeah. I don't think they're gonna be dumb enough to do that.
Yeah.
I just there's
made good decisions.
It's almost like a play on words. It was almost like a play on words. Like there's a big guy. I mean,
man, it's Ryback.
It better
that dude ain't a legend.
Yeah.
Mine is. Let's see. All right, so I've lost my thing. So let's go with Hangman and Matt Hardy in the big match.
So what exactly is a big money match?
So basically what they've done is Matt Hardy tried to trick Hangman into signing a contract that would put Hangman in with big money Matt Hardy, which is who he is right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was he thought he got Hangman drunk. Hangman switched contract behind his back, and Matt basically signed a contract saying that if he loses to Hangman, his first quarter earnings of 2021 go to Hangman. So then they ended up doing it to where whoever wins and whoever wins gets the other one's pay for the first quarter of the year.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go Hangman.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Hangman as well, just so they can do random drinking vignettes where basically Matt Hardy has to pick up the tab.
Right.
Kyle.
I think Hangman.
Yeah, I'm also going with Hangman on that one. Not because I don't know. I just don't see them having Hangman lose. He's undefeated so far this year. So
yeah. He needs that momentum to keep going.
Yeah. That way, whenever he does eventually go up against Kenny, like it's going to be because he's been a powerhouse all year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So Miro and Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. Jeremy.
Miro and Kip Sabian. I think this is going to give him an opportunity to kind of, hopefully, put a stamp on this whole feud and move forward with it.
Okay. Corey?
Yeah, I'll give it to Miro too. I just don't see Orange Cassidy and Sexy Chucky T winning this one.
Kyle?
I will third that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be. It's got to be Miro, right? If they don't let him win stuff like this, then he's never going to be anything there, and that's the whole reason they got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have to do something.
And it's one of those things, like, if they don't win, they need to make sure it's Kip that takes the fall, because him taking the loss is not going to hurt his stock value really character-wise, it will hurt Miro. And the same way around, why I think they win is because whether Orange Cassidy or Chucky T takes the fall, it's not going to hurt their stock at this point either.
Right, yeah. Nobody's going to be like, oh, man, they suck now. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, this one's interesting. The Face of the Revolution ladder match. So whoever wins this gets a shot at the TNT title, which, okay, so you got Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, Penta El Cerro, Lance Archer, and then you held Max Caster, and then to be determined, which is going to be a surprise whenever they come out. If you can think of anybody who might be the surprise, and
well, I'll tell you. Of course, the rumor, swirling the internet for the surprise is the one that's always swirling the internet as the surprise, and that is Cookie Monster himself. So,
who's that?
Magnet Punk.
Yep.
I think he's saying
CM Punk.
Punk is for Cookie
Who
Monster.
cares? Goodbye. Get out of here.
Seriously.
That was also the rumor flying around that Paul White was his talent.
Dumb, because they've already had him. He would have been so much better as a. What if it's just Shaq, man?
What, who?
Shaq.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight they had him disappear from the ambulance. Who knows?
It says that White also revealed this Sunday at Revolution there will be a huge Hall of Fame worthy talent signed for AEW.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
The other one is Selena Vega.
Yeah.
Right.
Whoever the surprise entrant is going to win it. It happens every single one. Brian Cage, he won.
So someone's got some fuzzy static going on now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Switched up something.
I don't know if Archer wins this because he won that Battle Royale, and honestly, I don't think the TNT title is really like his level. It's a big card title, and he's a main eventer in my eyes.
But I can see just Cody winning it because it's Cody.
I think Archer should win it. Honestly, I think he's overdue for a title in general anyways, just as a wrestler. And I mean, this is straddling between his time from New Japan going into AEW. I think he's overdue for a title run. He's obviously put the work in. He's super over with the fans, and obviously they see that by the way they basically took him from, being the bad guy to where he's more of a fan favorite, like likable character instead now. So I think it's
that's
Lance.
who I want to win is Archer.
Mm-hmm. Well,
The surprise part.
David, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and what's next on the list?
Let's go Brian Cage and Ricky Starks versus Darby Allen and Sting in a street fight.
I just hope Sting doesn't die. That's all I'm worried about.
All right, well, let's go with two predictions. Who's going to win, and does Sting die? Corey?
I'm going to say Darby Sting wins, and no, Sting doesn't die.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Darby Sting, and I'm gonna be scared watching the match.
I'm going to say Darby Sting, and I say that Sting goes through a table.
So I think Darby and Sting win. because they're not going to have Sting come out and lose. But I really want Brian Cage and Ricky Starks to win.
Yeah.
It'd just be cool to see. Like, everybody thinks it's going to be Sting in this heroic return, and he just gets smashed by Brian Cage.
Yeah. I mean, definitely be surprising if it just ended up being a squash match.
Oh my God, they just wreck him. I mean, like, because you know the rest of the team Taz is going to get involved.
Yeah.
And Taz himself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for some interesting, maybe some guys you haven't seen in a while coming back to help Darby and Sting. That'd be interesting.
Maybe.
All right, let's go to the tag team championships. Young Bucks versus Jericho and MJF.
Bucks.
All right, so I want 2 predictions here. All right, the first one is who wins the match, and the second is this when MJF takes over the Inner Circle, or are they going to hold it out longer?
I think you're going to see the Bucks win, and this is where you see MJF blame it on Jericho and try to take over the faction.
Okay, so it doesn't happen tonight, but this is whenever the setup begins.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Kyle.
I say the Bucks win because it's way too early to take the tag titles off of them, and I think that MJF betrays Jericho at the end.
You think they're pulling the trigger right now? All right.
Yep.
Jeremy?
You know, there's a part of me that really wants to say Jericho and MJF win the tag titles. There's a part of me that says that. Let's think about this for a minute. MJF and Jericho look pretty good together. I think they fit really well together. I think they're playing a lot of the whole best friends thing like they did with Jericho and Owens, which was excellent.
Festival of Friendship forever.
Yeah. So
It was so good they kept
mind.
Jericho there.
I wouldn't mind. I'm gonna have to say the Bucks because it's so early, but I will not be surprised if MJF and Jericho end up with a tag title. If the Bucks win, then I think I'm with Corey on this. I don't think it'll happen that night, but I think they'll start planting the seeds of saying maybe that Jericho's washed up, things like that. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to go the opposite of y'all. I'm going to have the balls to do what Jeremy didn't. I'm going to say it's MJF and Jericho win the tag titles, and then that is what's going to help them drive that story towards the breakup.
Okay.
And I could see that also actually helping along with the whole Bucks Kenny Omega Good Brothers angle too. They take the titles off them, so it's not like a champions versus champions situation.
Right.
And then imagine how annoying Jericho and MJF would be with the titles.
Oh God. Yeah.
I want to fucking hit them right now. They haven't even won them.
Oh,
all right.
The gold
championship. It's oh God, it's Hikaru Shida versus oh man, I can't find it on here. It's Ryu something. Man, she was really good whenever I watched her tonight. Apologies for not having her name on here, but none of these things were freaking updated.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go with Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, I just figure she's retaining. I mean, it's the Thunder Rosa situation. Are we really going to let her drop their women's title to someone not under contract with their company?
Corey?
Anybody disagree?
No comment.
Okay.
I think Shida wins still.
All right.
I think if it's a short match, we all win.
I like watching.
I'm just glad we didn't get Nyla Rose versus Shida again.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen. I don't need to see it again. I mean, not
All
that
right.
it was bad.
Oh no, they
second
were good
time,
matches.
It's just I don't need to see it 3 times, WWE.
Jesus. WWE would have done it 3 times in 2 weeks
Yeah.
somehow.
Well,
All
pay
right,
per view
last-
Monday night and Monday. Well, yeah, pay per view Monday night. That's what they would have done.
There you go. Boom, boom. AEW World Championship, Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in an exploding barbed wire death match. Corey.
I don't see them taking it off Kenny. I'm not saying he wins it clean because obviously it's not going to be clean. It's an exploding barbed wire death match. Let's be real, but I don't think they're going to take it off Kenny yet.
Okay, Kyle.
I know that they're not going to take it off Kenny yet. Jon Moxley's getting ready to go off of TV for a while for baby duty.
Yeah.
Oh
Well, I mean, if anybody is gonna have a kid and then make it to the show, it would be Jon Moxley.
Hey, I mean, he's still got a title. He's still the IWGP US champion.
That's true. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, like I could see you be like, "Oh, way to pop out that kid." All right, I'll be back in a few days.
Well, bye.
Yeah, I mean, if I could see anybody,
Isn't Renee due pretty soon?
yes, she is.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see.
That was my main thing. Was like,
coming.
I don't know, man. Like I said, if I could see anybody doing it and like popping out a kid and a week later being at a show, it would be Jon Moxley.
Yeah, I could see that.
And he's also been talking a lot about if this is the way I'm going to go out, it's a good way to go out, which is either just we already know or he's dropping red herrings everywhere. What do you think, Jeremy?
Well, I think Kenny wins, but how brutal do we think this match will actually be? Going to be a real exploding barbed wire death match? I mean,
Yes.
is it going to be like that? I mean, is it going to be?
Yes.
Unscripted
I
violence.
think it is. I think they're in a good situation, and they talked about this a lot on Busted Open Radio. I think, given the fact that the stadiums are going to be able to be filled the way they need it to be, that they're going to be able to have, in a way, I think, I think it's going to, actually be explosives. It's going to be nuts. I gotta be honest, they're brutal to see. I don't really care for them personally. I think if they're unnecessary, it's a gimmick match that some people love, and I don't personally care for them. But yeah,
I
love their lights out match.
I don't think anything will ever top what me and a friend of mine witnessed on just watching old wrestling videos where they had like a whole bunch of deathmatch stuff on the ring, but then they had soaked the ropes in kerosene and then lit them, and then the whole place went up in a matter of seconds, and it was like this gigantic battle royal. And then so I don't compared to that, I think this might be tanked.
Well, so like even the lights out match, like they freaking suplexed off the stage into like a big barbed wire net. But if you like pause it and look, like only the outside is barbed wire. The rest is just like wire mesh. You know what I mean? Like they're not taking absolutely stupid risks. You know what I mean? Like no one's getting a lung punctured from. But I mean, I don't know. I still think he wins, but I think he's gonna have a lot of help.
Oh yeah.
Well, was that the last match?
That is.
All right. Well, it's past my bedtime. It's time for me to go to bed. So, any last thoughts? Anything you all want to add? Anything you all want to talk about before I stop this recording?
Nah. It's past my bedtime too.
Yeah. Time for me to go night. Kyle, Corey, either one of y'all?
yeah.
Nah.
All right, nah. All right. Well, thank you for listening to wherever this show's going to be called. The running title. What did we agree on?
Card subject to change.
Yeah, card subject to change. Sure. That's what we're going to go with. Card subject to change. Please, if you enjoyed it.
Someone already took it.
Yeah, unless someone already took it. Whatever. I did. Whatever. If you enjoyed it, cool. If not, well, sure. I guess. All right. Whatever. But thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys later.